You've been lied to about personal growth. It's not about manifesting success, waiting for the right moment, or drowning in self-help books that tell you to believe in yourself without actually showing you how. The truth? Unlocking your potential isn't about inspiration, it's about action. And not just any action, but strategic, pragmatic steps that actually move the needle in your life. Think about it. How many times have you set goals, felt motivated, and then watched that motivation fade into frustration? It's not because you're lazy or lack discipline. It's because most personal growth advice is built on vague ideas that sound good, but don't work. That's where this video is different. We're cutting through the noise, breaking down a practical, no BS approach to personal growth that's backed by logic, not just optimism. If you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're done waiting for motivation to magically appear, and if you're ready to take real control of your growth, stick with me. Because by the end of this video, you won't just feel inspired. You'll have a concrete, actionable framework to actually become the best version of yourself. Let's get started. Number 1. Burn the plan. Chase the fire. You've been lied to. Yeah, I said it. All your life, you've been told to make a plan, map out every step, and wait for the perfect moment before taking action. Well, let me ask you, how's that working out for you? How many dreams have you buried under, "I'll start next month," or "I need to do more research"? If planning was the key to success, wouldn't everyone be crushing it by now? The truth is, planning feels productive, but most of the time, it's just a fancy way of procrastinating. So here's a radical idea. Burn the plan, chase the fire. I get it. The thought of diving in without a detailed roadmap sounds reckless. It goes against everything we've been taught. But let's be real. We've all had that moment where we overthink something to death, only to end up doing nothing at all. Like that time you wanted to start a side hustle, but spent weeks watching tutorials instead of actually trying. Or when you wanted to get in shape, but convinced yourself you needed the right gym, shoes, or protein shake before you could begin. The perfect plan doesn't exist, but action creates momentum. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should run into the battlefield blindfolded. I'm saying stop worshipping the plan and start following the fire, the thing that excites you, the thing that keeps pulling at you no matter how many excuses you throw at it. Because that's where the real growth happens. The best ideas, the most successful ventures, they didn't start with a flawless blueprint. They started with a spark, someone deciding to go for it before they felt ready. I learned this the hard way. A while back, I wanted to launch a creative project, but I kept convincing myself I needed more time to prepare, more research, more tools, more something. Then, one day, I watched someone else execute the exact idea I had been sitting on for months. And you know what? It stung. Not because they stole my idea, but because I had it first, and I did nothing with it. That's when I realized waiting kills more dreams than failing ever will. So I stopped planning and just started. Was it messy? Oh, absolutely. But guess what? I adjusted along the way. And the thing I once feared, starting before I was ready, became the very reason I succeeded. This is about trusting yourself. It's about recognizing that clarity comes from action, not from endless preparation. The people who win aren't the ones with the perfect plan. They're the ones who move first and figure things out as they go. So if you're waiting for a sign, here it is. Burn the plan, chase the fire, because the time will never be perfect, but you can be bold enough to start anyway. Number 2, weaponize your selfishness. Let's be honest, selfishness gets a bad reputation. We're told to be selfless, to put others first, to be the bigger person. But let me ask you something. How often has being the bigger person left you drained, frustrated, or stuck in a cycle of doing things you don't even want to do? Now, Before you roll your eyes and think I'm telling you to become some heartless, self-centered villain, hear me out. I'm not saying you should step on people to get ahead. I'm saying it's time to stop treating your own needs like an afterthought. It's time to weaponize your selfishness. We've all been there. You say yes to a favor you don't have time for. You bend over backward to support someone who wouldn't lift a finger for you. You pour energy into relationships, jobs, or projects that take more than they give. And then what? You're left exhausted, resentful, and wondering why you never have time for the things that actually matter to you. Sound familiar? The problem isn't that you're too kind or too giving. The problem is that you haven't learned how to use your selfishness the right way. Here's the twist. Being selfish isn't about neglecting others. It's about putting yourself in a position where you actually can give, without losing yourself in the process. Think about it. The most successful people aren't running around pleasing everyone. They protect their time. They invest in themselves first. They say no, often. And guess what? That's exactly why they have the energy, the focus, and the resources to do things that actually matter, because they've made themselves a priority first. I learned this lesson the hard way. A while back, I found myself constantly saying yes to extra work, to endless social plans, to people who only called me when they needed something. And every time I told myself it was the right thing to do. But one day, after completely burning out, I realized something. The people I was bending over backward for, they weren't doing the same for me. So I tried something different. I started saying no. I set boundaries. I stopped explaining myself. And guess what? The world didn't end. In fact, my life got better. I had more time, more energy, and ironically, more to give to the people and projects that actually deserved it. This isn't about being rude or selfish in the way people fear. It's about valuing yourself enough to stop running on empty. It's about recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you're feeling drained, if you're constantly putting others first at the expense of your own goals, here's your permission slip. Be selfish, but do it strategically. Use it as a tool to build the life you want. Because when you weaponize your selfishness, you're not just protecting your time, you're reclaiming your power. Number 3, cut off the almosts and maybes. Let's get real for a second. Your almosts and maybes are ruining your life. That side project you almost started, that friendship that maybe adds value but mostly drains you, that goal you've been kind of working on but never fully committing to, they're dead weight. And the longer you hold on to them, the more they hold you back. We've all done it. You keep entertaining that job offer you don't really want. You stay in touch with that friend who's 50% supportive and 50% toxic. You keep a million unfinished ideas in your head, convincing yourself that someday you'll get to them. But let's be honest, someday is a lie. Almost is just another way of saying you're stuck. And maybe is just a slow, painful way of saying no. Here's the brutal truth. If something isn't a clear yes, it's a no. Period. If a job, relationship, project or opportunity isn't lighting you up, pushing you forward, or making you better, it's weighing you down. And the longer you keep it around, the less space you have for the things that actually matter. Cutting off the almosts and maybes isn't about being reckless. It's about being ruthless with your time, energy, and focus. I had to learn this the hard way. A while back, I had an opportunity to work on a project that seemed kind of interesting. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. It was one of those, hey, maybe I should give it a shot situations. So I kept it in my life, half in, half out, letting it take up space in my brain. Meanwhile, there was another opportunity, a bold, exciting, hell yes kind of project, but I almost missed it because I was too busy entertaining my maybe. The second I let go of what was lukewarm, I had the time and energy to grab what was on fire, and guess what? That's the project that changed everything for me. This is about clarity. It's about making space for things that actually matter. The most successful, fulfilled people aren't drowning in half-hearted commitments. They make quick decisions. They don't waste time debating things that aren't a full yes. So here's your challenge. Look at your life, find your almosts and maybes, and cut them off. Walk away, say no, close the door. Because when you stop settling for almost, you make room for absolutely. Number 4, public failure as a growth hack. Nobody wants to fail, let alone fail in front of an audience. It's uncomfortable, humiliating, and feels like the universe just put you on blast. But here's the thing. Public failure is one of the most powerful growth hacks you'll ever experience. Yeah, I know you're probably thinking, that's insane. Why would I willingly put myself in a position to look like an idiot? But hear me out. We've all been conditioned to fear embarrassment. From school days, when a wrong answer made the whole class laugh, to work situations where screwing up in a meeting felt like a death sentence. We're wired to avoid failure at all costs, but avoiding failure also means avoiding real progress. The people who succeed the fastest aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail, recover, and learn in front of everyone. Because when you fail publicly, you're forced to adapt. You don't have the luxury of hiding. You have to own it, improve, and come back stronger. I once bombed a major project in front of a room full of people. I had prepped for weeks, convinced I had everything figured out. But when it came time to deliver, I crashed hard. People noticed. I felt like crawling into a hole. But here's what happened next. I didn't die. No one blacklisted me. Instead, people gave me feedback, some brutal, some helpful, and I had no choice but to apply it. That failure accelerated my growth faster than any success ever had. Because when you fail publicly, 2 things happen. People remember your effort, and you remember the lesson. Most people let public failure define them. They shrink, disappear, or convince themselves they're not cut out for whatever they were trying to do. But the ones who use public failure as a tool, they bounce back twice as hard. The world starts seeing them as resilient, unshaken, and, most importantly, fearless. That's a rare advantage. So if you've been holding back, waiting until you're perfect before taking action, stop, go out there, take the risk, and be willing to fail where people can see it. Because the faster you fail, the faster you learn. And the faster you learn, the faster you win. Number 5. Seek discomfort, not motivation. Motivation is overrated. Yeah, I said it. You don't need more motivational quotes, hype speeches, or that perfect get fired up playlist. What you actually need is discomfort. Because motivation is fleeting. It's like a sugar rush. It feels good for a while, but then it fades, leaving you right back where you started. Discomfort, on the other hand, that sticks. That forces you to move, to adapt, to level up. Think about it. How many times have you felt motivated to start something, a new habit, a project, a goal, only to lose that fire within days? We tell ourselves, I just need to feel inspired again. But waiting for motivation is like waiting for lightning to strike in the same place twice. You can't rely on it. What you can rely on is the power of making yourself uncomfortable. We've all had that moment where we knew what needed to be done, but we avoided it because it felt too hard, too awkward, too unknown. But here's the thing. Discomfort is where all growth happens. You don't get stronger by lifting weights that are easy. You don't become a better speaker by avoiding conversations. You don't become more confident by staying in your comfort zone. The moment you lean into discomfort, you're forcing yourself to change, and change is what actually gets results. I used to wait for the perfect moment to take action. I told myself, I'll start when I feel ready. But ready never came. What did happen? I got thrown into situations I wasn't prepared for, and guess what? I figured it out. I remember one time I had to give an impromptu speech in front of a group. Zero preparation, full panic mode. It was awkward. I stumbled over my words, but I did it. And after that, public speaking felt way less intimidating. Not because I got a sudden burst of motivation, but because I proved to myself that I could survive the discomfort. So stop chasing motivation. Instead, seek discomfort. Get comfortable with feeling awkward, unsure, and even a little scared. That's where the real transformation happens. Motivation might push you forward for a moment, but discomfort, that's what keeps you moving long after motivation has disappeared. Thank you for watching. I truly hope this video gave you a fresh, practical perspective on personal growth, one that actually works in the real world. If you found this valuable, take a second to hit that like button. It helps more than you know. And if you're serious about unlocking your full potential, make sure to subscribe because we've got plenty more no BS, actionable content coming your way. Also, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe a friend stuck in a rut, or someone who keeps waiting for the perfect time to take action. And before you go, drop a comment below. What's one area in your life where you're ready to apply a more pragmatic approach? Let's get a conversation going. Remember, personal growth isn't about waiting for motivation, it's about building momentum. Take what you've learned today and start making moves, one step at a time. See you in the next one.